He is the head coach of Notre Dame football, and that's your team, Mike, right? That's
Yes,
your team.
of course. Come on.
He is Brian Kelly back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing good, Rich. Thanks for having me on.
Everybody healthy and safe in your world?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's
You bet.
one of those deals where we're getting at that point where they're not going to be healthy. My teenagers, if they keep driving me crazy here, I mean, somebody. I think we're all at that point where, please.
Yeah, it's funny. I go back and forth.
I don't care what.
I know, because I've got an 11, 9, and 6 at home, and I'm like, knock on wood, we're healthy, but we're going crazy. And then some of my friends are like, try having teenagers who want to get the car keys, you know?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
They go, wow, gas prices. Dad, it took me $28 to fill it up. I'm like, you have no idea. You're just clueless. This whole thing. You have no idea.
What about
they're entering into the reality zone during this time where everything kind of slows down.
I know, right?
They start to look at, wow, things actually cost money, and yeah, you have to go get a job and work.
Oh, man. And then in this day and age where you point out like things kind of slow down, but it does seem that sometimes a day feels like a year, and enough like a year's worth of movement or activity can be boiled down into a day. So that's kind of where I'd like to start with you right now, Coach, is August 29th. There's a game that you're supposed to play against Navy in Ireland. And where do things stand right now, do you think, about your playing season?
Well, I think we're going to play. I don't have the definitive, 100%, but obviously things are trending that way. We're moving in that direction. We want to play in the fall. I think look, at the end of the day, those decisions are going to be made by, our president, our board of trustees, not the football coach at Notre Dame. So let's get that straight. But, we're moving in that direction. We're preparing for those eventualities. So I think from that perspective, I can say that we are prepared, and we know that there's going to be challenges. There's probably going to be some setbacks as well. And as long as we're all aware of what those are and how to deal with them, I think we're ready to play football in the fall.
Well, I just had a conversation with Dave Roberts of the Los Angeles Dodgers, the manager of the LA Dodgers, and I've had conversations like this on this show. And it's always, I don't want coaches or managers to be put in the position of where we're all expecting you to come up with a vaccine. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
and that you're all now experts in public health, but. It is a situation that's constantly changing. I mean, what do you tell your kids, who I'm sure you're Zooming with or what have you right now, right?
Well, see, so that's the most difficult thing. As we're planning on, no salad bars and spacing in the locker room and the weight room and some of these really important issues, so you can in fact avoid a hot spot or, the potential of, what the worst case scenario could be, Rich, and that is you start and then you have to shut down. The players they want to know dates and times. They want to be in a position where they can put on their calendar, hey, what's the date? The problem is we can't give them that because everything is staged in terms of the states and the universities. They want to wait as long as they can because they want to get better testing. They want to get better tracing. They want to get, where are we going to quarantine? And those things take more time. And so we're in this position where as committees, and we're meeting on a day-to-day basis, we're trying to put together protocols and plans for it. But on the other hand, I'm trying to talk to my players every day, and they're like, Coach, what do you got for us? Give us something. And, it gets to the point where you're just I know it's frustrating for them, but they know that we're doing all the planning necessary. Because here's where it's a little different, Rich, than years past.
Right.
We have to over-communicate with the parents. Because, look, if it's my kid, I'm not putting them on a plane to South Bend, Indiana. Look, nobody drives to our campus. We have very few kids within 3 hours of our campus. You're putting your son on a plane to Notre Dame. I better know exactly what's in place for my son when he gets there, that he's not going to get sick. And so we have to do a really good job of putting this together so we can over-communicate with the parents as well.
So, Brian Kelly here on the Rich Eisen Show. I hope you don't mind me prying, but what do you tell the parents? I mean, what do you have in place, like testing, tracing? I mean, again, it's not as if
we have to lay out exactly. We have to lay out exactly what we're doing. Are we testing daily? Are we doing antibody testing? Are we going once a week? Are we putting them in pods where they stay in those pods and they're not going to be disrupted from those areas? So there's a lot there's a lot of layers here, Rich, that are really new to me. That I'm kind of sitting back, listening, and trying to find out, as a football coach for 30 years, as a head coach, what's realistic? What can we do? I know you were talking to Dave Roberts. I was on a call with some Major League Baseball. They're talking about changing the ball every pitch. I mean, so they're talking about not using the clubhouse, the old days, right? You come dressed, pop the hood, take your bat out, and let's go in and play. So there's a lot of moving pieces here that we're trying to get our head around and find out whether it's realistic to be able to do. So that's the information that we got to find out, whether we're going to relay that information back to the parents or not.
And how close are you to having that protocol locked down?
We're better. We're better than where we were maybe even 2 weeks ago, where we have a document that's getting closer and closer because we're getting more answers. It seems as though we're getting closer to figuring out what kind of capacity that we'll have for testing. Those are the things that really, unfortunately, have been holding us up a little bit because we needed to know what kind of testing capacity that we would have in place.
Brian Kelly, Notre Dame Fighting Irish head football coach here on the Rich Eisen Show. A few more minutes left with you, Coach. And then you might be in the most unique position of all because, as usual, your schedule is kind of like a United Nations, where you've got a MAC team, you got 5 ACC, you got Pac-12, you got Big Ten. So, for your schedule to go off, you could say, we're ready, we've got the protocols, our kids are going to be safe as possible. But then you've got another conference saying, we're just not going to do it. And then your schedule gets totally blown. So how do you handle that? I mean, what's the deal on that?
Well, Jack Swarbrick earns his money this year times two. Right. I mean, he's got to be, obviously, we're looking at, can some of these conferences do a +1 game? Will Wisconsin play us in Lambeau Field? Will the ACC, which we are collateral partners for 6 games, will they give us our 6 games? I'm sure Western Michigan will come if the check is the ink is dry. I think that's going to happen. Navy is going to be a game, whether it's played, in Ireland or Bethesda. I mean, they're certainly going to play. So my point being is that we'll find enough games. It seems it's pretty clear that teams are going to stay within their conference. At least that's what it appears to be the case right now.
Right.
But I think we're in a position that I can confidently say that we're going to get enough games to be in the discussion for, whatever the postseason looks like, that we'll have enough games.
But you feel, because again, I mean, the number of variables you and I just discussed in the last 6-7 minutes, I'll use the phrase I used with Dave Roberts, my head is spinning. And but you still ultimately feel, are you just glass half full, or why do you feel like you're going to have a playing season here?
Well, because I think our university wants to have one. I mean, the Cal State university system pulled, the plug on it because they did not, for some reason, feel as though they wanted to, put people on their campuses. And we are going to have to make that decision as well. And again, I want to be careful. I am not speaking for our university or our president or our board of trustees, but, we will have to make a decision that we feel comfortable that we can bring people on campus. And in doing so, we're going to play football. If there are students on our campus, we're playing football. And we are taking the painstaking steps necessary to ensure the safety of our players and support staff and those people around them that if, in fact, we do take the steps to open up our campus, in whatever capacity that looks like, Rich,
right,
that we're going to be able to play football.
Good luck on that, man. I'm sorry. I mean, for sure. I know that sounded flippant, but I mean it. I mean every word of it. No, sir. Because again, you're going to have to. You've got a lot of partners that you got to figure out. Are obviously from parents, faculty, board of trustees, athletic director, and then when I mean partners, I'm talking about all these schools that you've got to either visit or go to. They've got to say, yeah, we're going to do it for you to be able to play all those games. So I say best of luck, and let's stay in touch, and we'll have a conversation.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Always. Thank you.
All right.
You bet.
Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
bet. Brian Kelly, Notre Dame football.